Kelly, middle school language arts teacher, author of the YA series The Lucia Chronicles and the upcoming YA sci-fi fantasy series The Elementals. This is a YA book review of My Lady Jane, and this book is written by 3 authors, all popular YA authors: Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jodi Meadows, and it is the story of Lady Jane Grey and her marriage to Gifford Dudley. It is all about history, but it's kind of history turned on its head, and the story is divided into 2 parts. And basically the parts that follow history is that King Edward is on his deathbed, and so his right-hand man, Senior Dudley, John Dudley, he convinces King Edward to alter the line of succession so that it bypasses his sisters Bess, aka Elizabeth, and Mary, and that his cousin Lady Jane Grey would become queen if he dies, and then her subsequent male heir would take the throne. In reality, Lady Jane Grey was only queen for 9 days before Mary overthrew her, and then her father was found guilty of treason, and she was off with her head, basically. So basically, this book kind of takes that story and runs with it, and it's told from 3 perspectives. It's told from the perspective of Edward, from Jane, and from her husband, Gifford, which is a marriage that's arranged by Edward. And as I said, Gifford, or G as he wants to be called in this story, is the son of John Dudley, which is King Edward's right-hand man. And so basically, they also throw in some magic in this story. There are verities, which, if you know that word, its origins is truth. And then there are Ethians. And in this book, the Ethians are people who can change into animals. And the mythology goes that we all had that ability at one time, and some of us have suppressed that ability. Verities believe that Ethians are almost like the equivalent of like the mudblood thing in Harry Potter, and that they need to be cleansed from the land because they're filthy and disgusting and violent and all the things that we shouldn't be. So there are some lovely twists and turns in this story. It's a hefty book, coming in at 500 pages almost, and I read it in 3 days. The first 50 pages were a little slow for me, but I think I was still having a book hangover from finishing the Raven cycle. But once I got past the first 50 pages, then things started to get really interesting, and the climax is kind of, Edward and Jane and Bess trying to take back the throne from Mary, and I believe this is the origin of the Bloody Mary also, because I think this queen is the one whose reputation created that title. The history is cool. The spinning of the history into something new and turning it on its head is exciting. It's kind of comical. Sometimes the narrators intervene in their own story and give commentary as the authors, and that's amusing. I didn't really laugh out loud. I laughed out more during the reading of the Raven cycle than I did during this, but I have a really snarky, sarcastic, somewhat cynical sense of humor, and that could be why. But this is a great, lighthearted read. I give it 4.5 stars. On Goodreads, I marked it as 4 because I don't even know if you can give half stars on Goodreads, only because of the slow beginning, but I was actually so intrigued by it that I actually ended up looking up the history of Lady Jane, and they kind of harp on the fact that she has red hair, which kind of makes her unattractive, and I looked up pictures of her to see what kind of portraits were done, and it's just a shame that she didn't ask. In history, she didn't ask to be put into the situation, and she was forced into it, and then she was killed at like 17 because of something that she didn't even want, and that's kind of a shame. But this gives her a new history, and the cover is gorgeous, and I've never read anything by the 3 authors, but I'm more inclined to read something by them now. I've seen their books, I just never grabbed them, so I think I will be checking out some books by these authors. So if you want something light, not physically light, but light-hearted, then I suggest you check out My Lady Jane. In the meanwhile, happy reading and happy writing.